Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Corby Connection. Tonight, Corby Connection goes back to our community. Tonight, we have Donna Thorpe, Activities Director for the Gardens at Gettysburg. Before we get to Donna, we will bring in your host, Pat Colley. Pat?
Thank you, Rick. Donna, thank you so much for your time. You are an important part of the Notre Dame Club of Gettysburg because as a service organization, we like to go out and look forward to certain activities. And you have been the point person at the Gardens of Gettysburg for quite a long time. So we're really happy to have you join us for Corby Connections.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So I think it might be helpful for some people watching this, and of course, some people might not even be in the Gettysburg area. They might be watching this in other parts of the country. Tell people what the Gardens at Gettysburg is.
We are a skilled care nursing facility. We have 102 beds. We have long-term care. We have memory care. We have short-term rehab. And of course, our short-term rehab is excellent here. Not too many people, when people think of nursing homes, they think automatically of long-term care, that they're here for life. But in our building, we have an excellent rehab. We have occupational, we have physical, we have speech therapy. And surprisingly, many of our residents go home and they lead enriched lives because of our therapy department. It's a wonderful place for people who really don't have a lot of families because we become their family. I actually have worked here 35 years, since 1985. I started in the business office, was promoted to activities 3 years later. I actually have a degree in music education from Gettysburg College. So that was more my education anyway. But I ended up here and I absolutely love it. Best job in the world. I have the greatest residents and I'm so lucky to have support from organizations such as the Notre Dame Club. Makes my job so easy.
Well, thank you for saying that. And I'm glad that you gave that sort of background into what goes on, what kind of service is provided at the Gardens at Gettysburg, because like you said, people have preconceived ideas of what a nursing home is. I happen to be in the line of work where I help people plan for long-term care and that sort of thing. And this is a place where, if dad goes to the hospital with a stroke or a broken hip, the doctors will fix him up, but he can't really safely go home. So it is a place where there's multiple disciplines who are helping that person to recuperate and ideally to get back to their family in a safe way. And that's, I'm sure you can talk about all of the different staff members who play a different role, but I really wanted to talk to you because, especially in the last 12 months, your role as activities director is, lifting the spirits of people, keeping a sense of connection with other people during a time of isolation is just purely life-saving. That's how I see it.
It is. And I tell you what, my residents are remarkable. From March the 13th last year, we were quarantined, and we were very lucky up until October 9th, and then COVID hit our building. And from March the 13th up until October 9th, we did not have family visits inside. We did not have beautician. We did not have anybody but staff, and our staff came through. Our residents, of course, were room bound as much as possible. We were very lucky because we did not have COVID in our building the whole summer. We were able to bring our families for outside visits. I cannot tell you how many video chats I have done, how many window visits I have helped with in the last year. It's been insane. But like I said, come October, it was October the 9th, things really changed. And that was when activities really, and the nursing staff were phenomenal. That's when the COVID actually hit our building. From that point on, we had no family involvement. We still had the window visits. We had short-term video chats. but it was pretty sad here. You know, it was, I don't want to get emotional about it, but I was here at midnight moving COVID residents, people who were diagnosed. You know, it was all hands on deck. Department heads, our administrator, our director of nursing were amazing. They were here, and they were instrumental in keeping our residents safe. But when a resident was diagnosed with COVID, from that point on, we moved them to a COVID unit, and they were sick. They were sick. So all those people out there that don't believe that there is, you know, the coronavirus, there is, you know, it is definitely very hard for people to get over. We did lose 7 residents during that period. And that was very heartbreaking for our staff. But January 1st, we're green. We made it through October, November, December, through Christmas. I cannot tell you, it was very hard for our residents at that point. It was amazing though, because the community, they came through for us. We had people, and my gosh, we had people standing outside our windows with big signs saying, we love you. You know, we know you need help right now. You know, stay strong. We had churches. The Notre Dame Club was fabulous. You know, they contacted me. Usually, we are so blessed. We have 4 active events that you sponsor a year, and normally, you know, normally it's you know, 3 during the year, and then Christmas is huge. The Notre Dame Club members come. You know, we have Santa Claus. I dance with Santa Claus. You know, and of course you sponsor the entertainment. And every year you always bring us something lovely. And this year it was so important because, you know, you purchased, and I'm not sure if the members are aware of this, but this year you purchased one of those old time radios, which we were able to put so that, you know, it brought back great memories, and also many of the CD radios that we could put in all the rooms. You have no idea over the years how many you have purchased for us. And almost every room in this building has one because of the Notre Dame Club. So at Christmas time, these residents were room bound. I was able to go and put Christmas CDs because of the Notre Dame Club, what they did for us. You know, and that really, really did lift spirits. So it was a hard time, but here we are. January rolled around. We made it through the, you know, the coronavirus. And you cannot believe the difference. We're almost, you know, almost normal. But
that is so good to hear, because even in normal times, your role there is crucial, because imagine, I'll ask anybody listening to this interview and everything you just described as a historic challenge in your 35 years of doing that work, you know, and taking it so personally. Just imagine normal times, how difficult it must be when a loved one has to be uprooted from their routine and their home, where all their memories are, where they can see their family, and they're already distressed from their health change, but now they're in this whole new environment, different routines. You know, nobody wants to be uprooted like that from their life. And so I think it would help if you just describe, even in normal times, how an activities director brings that person into a sense of connection and community with a whole new group of people. And of course, the nurses and the physical therapists and the speech therapists have their own role to play in the recuperation of that person. But if they lose their will to recover, if they lose their will to live, then it's all lost. And that's where you come in. So just tell us generally, in the normal times, how do you meet that challenge of bringing somebody through a difficult transition like that?
You know what? It's actually just making contact with them. You know, we visit every day. We encourage them to spend time out of room. We introduce them to many other people. You know, and a lot of, you know, one of our this is probably amazing for you, but we have a lot of veterans here. So we have veterans that we introduce to other veterans, and they'll sit and they'll talk, and they'll become engrossed in their conversation. And next thing, they're sitting at lunch together. We have people who enjoy certain activities like crafts. So they'll sit and they'll crochet, or they'll do a craft together. We have readers that enjoy reading. I do an activity calendar every day and I give a news line in the morning. I try to incorporate some of the special things, birthdays that they might remember. Lawrence Welk's birthday, for example, and then we'll talk about Lawrence Welk during the day. It'll bring back memories. But, I do an activity calendar. I give a news line every morning. It lets the resident know what's going on. I do a joke a day, which are usually terrible, but it makes the residents laugh. And that is like the most important thing, is getting them laughing, getting them happy, introducing them, getting them out of their room. I know I have to give a shout out to Jim Conrad. He has been absolutely instrumental in involving the Notre Dame Club all these years. Since 2005, I think 63 events. He's been in almost all of them. But he has been amazing, trying to get the people involved in like the Notre Dame Club events. I'll give an example. When it comes to entertainment, it's very hard to find entertainers. In fact, if the Notre Dame Club had not sponsored all these events, we would not have had, we have lots of church, which is absolutely wonderful. But when it comes to entertainers, it's very hard to find them. So anyway, for an example, when we have the Notre Dame Club sponsored events, that really brings people out. And Jim has found phenomenal entertainers. Oh my gosh. One man, I believe the first one we had was an accordion player and a piano player. That was way back in 2005. But, and then in 2006, that's when we started the 4 events a year. Then we started to see the entertainers like Frank Sinatra singers, beach singers, country singers. And boy, the biggest one, and oh my gosh, we have a teenage boy who sings like Elvis. And if you want to talk about how I get people engaged in activities, you bring that teenage boy dressed like Elvis into this building. Oh my gosh. He sang Love Me Tender, got down on his knee, put a leggy around these residents' necks, and oh my gosh. That's how you engage a resident. That's how you get them involved. You get them happy. You get them out of their rooms. Jim actually, he went to Graceland and bought some of those Elvis, oh my gosh, scarves. The second time this boy came in, and they're still in their rooms. Those, the scarves that boy handed out that day, they're still talking about it.
A funny story too, Donna, when I was first looking to get involved with the Notre Dame Club, Jim was the first person I met with the Notre Dame Club of Gettysburg, and he took me aside and he launched into a story about an Elvis impersonator who was a young kid, and how these older residents just warmed up to him. He knew exactly how to read the crowd and which ones wanted to get that special treatment. So it meant a lot to him too. And it means a lot to all of our members to be able to make an impact like that. But I'm so glad you brought up the Elvis impersonator.
Oh, I have a resident. She has a 6-foot cutout of Elvis in her room. Every time I go in, I have about a heart attack because he's right there over the bed. But she doesn't come to any activities. But when Elvis came, you better believe she was front and center. And boy, did she get a scarf that day. That is basically how you involve a resident. I go out and I dance with them. You've got to get their attention. You've got to get front and center with them. That's the only way to really get these residents happy here. I mean, yes, we take them on outings normally. Right now, of course, we can put them in the van. We can take them for rides, but normally we'll take them out. We'll get ice cream. We'll go shopping at Walmart, things like that. We'll sit outside in nice weather with them. There's so many things that, that we can do. But if you bring an entertainer like Elvis in here, I'm telling you, forget the activities that we can do. I mean, we could dress up like Santa Claus and dance down the hallways. Forget that. It's Elvis.
Well, and I think that not only an event like that, and you mentioned the Lawrence Welk, and finding ways to spark memories, especially for those residents who are in memory care, you're tapping into a part of their identity that's still there. I mean, they have long-term memories, maybe something to return them to an earlier part of their life and spark their spirit and their excitement, because otherwise they might be confused, or they might not really be engaged because they're just not sure what's going on. But I think what you're describing is, and Jim told me about how you get the residents up and moving and everything, clapping and dancing. You're tapping into all the senses, and you're finding those memories and finding their true identity and bringing that out. And that's I think what you're getting at with a lot of that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you have to be animated. You have to get there. You have to make sure that they know that you love them. You do. You have to hold their hands. You have to be there. When they want to talk, you listen. That is the role of an activity director. It's not really, and it's not about me, it's about them. It really is. So,
Donna, you mentioned too that yes, the Notre Dame Club has made a point of actual tangible items that we thought would be useful. Toaster ovens, like you said, the radios, and the radios too. That's part of connection with, especially during a time of isolation, getting them in touch with what's going on in the world, maybe for music to soothe them and so forth. What other types of ways can the club, or from other people who might hear this conversation, how can we support your efforts to add to their willingness to engage in a community and to be happy and I don't know, take the edge off of the physical therapy and all the hard work that they're doing?
Well, every month I put out a newsletter, and I'm very blessed. I have a lot of volunteers. All I have to do is put in the newsletter, we need bingo supplies, So the next thing I know, I have a room full of, potato chips and chocolate bars, things that they enjoy, and they want. But, the biggest thing really for them is cards and letters, from outside, outside people. One thing that many people do not realize, I think, or maybe they do, a lot of our residents don't have families. So, cards and letters, they don't get them. They don't get them on holidays. They don't get them at all. So, so having a handwritten letter from someone is fabulous, and stick a few pictures in from your family, that you're thinking of them. That means a lot to many of our residents here.
That's a wonderful idea. And you have a great point. I mean, many people outlive the people close to them. We're in a more mobile world now, where children are moving across the country and the world, so it's not as easy for them to visit. So even if they do have family, they might not be close enough to be in good communication. And you mentioned, even just trying to enliven their mood a little bit with bad jokes. I promise you, the Notre Dame Club of Gettysburg is a treasure trove of bad jokes, so we can come through for you there as well.
That would be lovely. They would love if you would put some jokes in an envelope and mail. Oh my heavens, they would absolutely love that. Yeah,
I suspect we have those for days, so that's great to hear.
I'll be looking forward to them. That would be. We will love them. Yes.
So hopefully now that vaccines are coming out, are vaccines being administered at the gardens?
We've actually had our first and second vaccines. So we are, well vaccinated here at the gardens. Most of our residents did receive them. But, right now is, of course, their families have not, because of the the lack of vaccine availability, so, we are starting in-facility visits next week. They are not in the rooms. They are not, we are basically keeping them 6 foot apart. We have a partition in between. Unfortunately, when the family comes in, they have to wear full PPE on a daily basis. I'm wearing either goggles, shields. We all wear masks, to keep our residents protected here. So we have to do that with our families that are coming in. We only allow 2 at a time. And in some cases, a window visit is better because they get on their phone. They're 2 feet apart between the windows, and it works better. But we're keeping our residents safe so we can open that door and everyone can come in. We can have the Notre Dame Club. We can have the families back in their rooms. So we're doing everything we can to keep our residents safe right now.
And that's what I was wondering is, what your vision of the next 6 to 12 months would be. I mean, I'm sure the hope is to, like you said, have in-person visits again. And that really, I mean, you can't afford, of course, to have a backslide where all of a sudden the COVID shows up again. Now the vaccinations for your residents is important, but yes, the visitors also must be vaccinated. And we have to get over this before you can really go back to complete normal. But how is your role as activities director going to change in the coming months?
Well, you know what? We are so lucky right now because we have been green since the first of the year. We are doing small group activities. We're able to take one wing out at a time to the dining room. They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They can stay out all day long. So as an activity director, I'm back doing activities. I said to my boss this morning, I almost cried yesterday. I came out, it was it was almost dinner time. The residents were back in our center court area. Yes, they were 6 feet apart. They all had masks on, but they were sitting there watching TV, getting ready for dinner, socializing, and happiness. There was happiness here. I know a lot of people think, oh, those poor people in nursing homes. I can tell you it isn't a poor person here. Yes, they miss their families tremendously. But if you had walked into that center court area and saw the laughter, the smiles, the happiness, you would have wow, is this a quarantine? Oh my heavens. We have come so far from that October, when we were first diagnosed with our first case of COVID to now, that I have great hopes that within the next, I am hoping by summer that, we are able to remain COVID free. We can start bringing at least, some more family members in. I don't know if we'll be back in the rooms. I pray we are. We'll definitely be outside with family visits when the weather turns nice. I don't know what the future brings, but I do know our residents are amazing. They have made it through. They have made it through this whole entire year of craziness. And they're positive. Their spirits are up. They know we're coming to the end. They know we're coming to the end of this. So, we need your prayers. We need your positive thoughts. But we're still going to do I'm going to still do it. And I know the staff too, everything we can in our power to keep those smiles going. If I have to dance and have people, shoot me with Nerf guns, whatever, I will do it and my staff will do it. And so will the residents. It's really amazing. Some of the things I've seen. And I tell you what, to be honest, we eat a lot. You would be so surprised. Our residents are eating very well these days with all the snacks we hand out. Because, we can't have everyone together. So we do a lot of snack carts and a lot of drinks, a lot of iced tea carts. And Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many milkshakes I've made over the last year. It's crazy, but they are happy. Our residents are happy, and that's all that matters.
Well, you know, you just described a lot of resilience, a lot of self-sacrifice in a way, but they found a way to keep their spirits up. But you know, I give a lot of credit to you. I think that what you do there is just heroic work to keep them keep their spirits up and to foster that community until it can take root and grow as the way that you just described, where they're sitting together and socializing, and that must be so rewarding for you. And, and thank you for the ideas too of ways that maybe we can help until we can get in there with events. But I promise you that people like Jim Conrad get as much enjoyment about after going there as you do seeing him come in and the other members come in to do those programs. It's just what a wonderful opportunity for connection. And we've heard enough awful stories of people acting badly in the last 12 months during this whole ordeal. Everything you've just told is a story of like the best of humanity, and you're leading the charge.
Oh my gosh. You know, I do have to say, you know, one thing about Jim Conrad, he comes in and, you know, we have residents who have been here since he first came in 2005. First thing he said is, where's Merle? You know, he's looking for Merle because Merle's been here since 2005. And then he knows people from his childhood in Hanover. He's looking for those folks. He comes in and he knows everybody. He's shaking their hands. You know, I'm going to tell you, he has been a blessing. You know, all these years, you know, you're very fortunate to have Jim Conrad with the Notre Dame Club and all the folks I have met over the years. I do have to thank them and thank you, you know, for everything you have done for our residents here and for our staff. We really appreciate that.
Thank you for saying that. And we're grateful to have a partner like you to, you know, to do what we do in the community. And I think that it's always been so exciting. I can tell from talking to other members. So thank you for welcoming us in. And I hope that soon enough we'll be in person with Elvis and country singers and all the rest.
That would be fabulous. We can't wait.
So Rick, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Donna. Again, on the behalf of us here at the Club at Notre Dame in Gettysburg, we do a lot of things here in the community for people, but I can honestly say being able to do something for you up there at Gettysburg, at the Gardens in Gettysburg, is probably one of our highest moments. We are most proud of what we can do, and we will always be there to give you a hand.
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
Okay, and also I just wrote a note down here. You say you have some vets there, a lot of vets. Well, when we get out of this, I will be in contact with you because we like to honor them vets through our club. So again, on behalf of all of us here in Gettysburg, thank you very much for taking your time, and hopefully we can see you soon.
I hope so too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, you. Donna. Take care.
Go Irish.
Go Irish. Good night.